I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Woo, man, I can tell you. Tonight is going to be one, and when I mean one, I mean this is going to be maybe an out-of-body experience, and I can tell you that because about an hour ago, we determined that we may be having air conditioning issues here at the Southern Command. And I feel like I might be sweating similar to a preacher at a Southern Baptist convention. And I can tell you, I don't have the handkerchief, but we'll see. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 496th episode of the Political Spotlight. I am your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey, and Kate is at the bottom. Producer Kate's at the bottom. I think she's either taking a call or viciously yelling at someone. They look identical to me sometimes. So we're smashing some things here. So welcome. Laura says Solar Sue and the Women's League of... she took it way too fast here. Women's League of Voters are going to mail postcards to Brand to say there are more for solar than against. Well, hopefully they won't use any foul language, or maybe they will, and he'll just totally tune them out since he is a softie out there. Hello, Bree. Hello, Kid Rock. Hello, Stumblefoot. Hello, Brenda, Paula, Alva, Les. Les says, ready for the show tonight. Ready to say no to solar. That's good. No solar for Delaware County. Hey, it might be good for somebody somewhere. But it's not good for us here. And that's what we've made very well clear over the last... It's been several years where there have been a lot of people who are from the areas affected that are reaching out and saying, no, this is just not good for us. Now, there are a number of people that are saying, yes, we are pro-solar. Yes, we want solar to occur where in our county, where we live in our county. The problem is they don't specifically live by or near the areas affected. And listen, I'm never going to knock someone out of being able to speak. Everyone has a right to speak, and they all have the right to speak, and they all have the right to be pro-solar, and they all have the right to push their side as hard and as loud as they can. We obviously have the right to push back and to push our side as loud and hard as we can and let the chips fall where they may. However, I will never say that anyone should not be permitted to speak or should not be able to be permitted to have their voice heard on an issue. But it would be totally ignorant to say that the elected officials involved should give as much weight to, say, Solar Sue or Solar Swingley, who lives nowhere near the affected areas. We wouldn't want them to be given the same weight as, say, Ron Crouch, who's living in the area that will absolutely be affected. Okay, so that's that. It's just like when I go to other areas. When I go to Madison County to speak, or if I go to the Anderson City, or if I go to Newcastle, if I go to Winchester, you'll notice I'm not the first person popping up to the podium. I never do that. I always give the citizens from the area a chance to speak and be heard first. And then, and only if I notice that no one else is going forward, if no one else is going up, then I will look around and I'll be like, all right, I'm not from here, but I'm going to speak. I just want to give you guys the chance first. I never cut in front of someone. Now, I should not be not permitted to speak. I definitely should be. But I'm always clear to be like, I want the citizens to have their say first. And I want what I say to be taken into consideration. I wouldn't ever expect them to give me the same amount of weight to my argument as, say, someone from the area. That's just common sense. That's why when I tell all of these people, yeah, I can come help you and I'll come do all of this, but it's not my fight. It's your fight, and I'm only in here as an assistant to help you. So, it's very, very, very interesting. Now, that's the solar, and we are going to get into solar. But before we get to solar, we're going to talk about another issue this evening, and this is another hot button issue, and it is the mental health treatment facility that's being built down by the Delaware County Justice Center at 3100 South Tillotson, and we're going to be talking about it. Those are the two big topics tonight. So we're going to be talking about those two topics, and then as a last little aside, we're going to be talking about this meme that went up. It's almost been a week now. I talked about these a little bit on Thursday night, but we had a guest in, and so I said I would quickly cover them, but that I would talk about them tonight. So that's what we're doing this evening, and we're going to have a good time doing it. We're going to have a lot of great information and put a lot of great content out. So please share the show with everyone you know. If you have not smashed that like button yet, please do so. If you're watching this on Facebook, welcome. Thank you for being here. If you're watching this on Rumble or Twitter or whatever, I don't care where people watch this from. I want you to get the information. I want you to be able to hear it. However, I will tell you, though, that Facebook is the least place that I would want you to watch this from. If it is possible for you to switch to YouTube, that would be great. If it's possible for you to switch to Twitter or X, as it's called now, that would be great, or Rumble. But YouTube, those places are the best, and that way you'd be able to get the likes and be able to participate in the algorithm nonsense, and that's just to help for us. We don't ask you for any money here. We don't ask you to pay for subscriptions. anything like that. So, okay, let's see here. We've got this question. Smash that like button, do all that stuff, comment here, there, and everywhere. Okay. Let me answer this, and then solar is going to be the second part of the topic. We're going to do the mental health thing first, but I will. Well, are you going to be around for a moment? Do you mind if we star this and come back to it? Because this is a good topic, and I do want to address this. Let's put a star on this, and we'll come back to it. That is a great question, Charlize, and we will get back to it, I promise you. So first up, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about this issue with the mental health facility. This is a big deal. Delaware County. Oops, not that. I lied there. To fund or not to fund mental health treatment. And that's kind of a clickbaity type of a topic, but, I guess I should have put a question mark there. We'll fix this and put a question mark up in there, because it's not, the question's not even, are we going to fund or are we not going to fund? The decision's already been made. The decision has already been made, and the decision was made by 2 Delaware County commissioners. I guess 3 Delaware County commissioners, but 2 of them were the driving force, and those were the CowBoi-Kid Commissioners, Shannon Henry and James King, 2 CowBoi-Kid Commissioners that pushed and pushed and pushed so hard. James King, for those that don't know, has talked to people since probably the late 90s or the early 2000s about wanting to hold some kind of power in order to force the Delaware County Jail to move to the southwest side of Delaware County. This is not something that just cropped up when he was as a commissioner. It's not something that cropped up when he was on the council. He talked about this to anyone that would listen long before he was ever involved in politics. And he stated that he wanted the jail to be outside of the city limits, which makes no sense to me. Normally, you have those facilities in the downtown area. There are plenty of ways that you could have fixed the horrible design of the jail in downtown Muncie. I agree it was a problem. It needed fixed. But the answer to that solution was not to take it out of Muncie and move it to the southern portion of the area where it just makes no sense to take people out to jail. It's very stupid. It's very, 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 very stupid. And so I was against this from the very start. I voiced my opinions at meetings. I sent out emails. I did everything that I could to fight this because it was stupid where they put the Justice Center. Then to find out that they were only going to put half of the county of offices out there and now essentially separate Delaware County government by several miles, and it made no sense. It didn't make sense for the attorneys. It didn't make sense for the cops. It didn't make sense for the clerk's office. It didn't make sense for the court. It just did not make sense. But there's nothing that we can do. It is what it is. There's nothing that we can do. It's out there. There it is. There it is. Now, one of the things that they promised the people that were very passionate against this, one of the things that they told everybody is, if we get this jail out there, if we'll have room to do a mental health project, to have some kind of a mental health facility, Now, in my opinion, and I may be wrong, and maybe I'm hearing this wrong or misremembering this or whatever, but it wasn't exactly aimed at mental health. It was more an addiction type of a thing that they were promising. And then that they tried to roll those things into one, or that one thing into two. We're going to have mental health. It's going to be mental health for just people with mental health, and we're also going to focus on addiction. And sometimes it was just an addiction issue place, and it was just kind of all over the place. And they said, yeah, we're going to have it. And then comes the grand opening, and they're pushing all of their inmates out there, and they're moving the offices, and the prosecutor's office goes out there, and the public defender's office goes out there, and the courts go out there, and the sheriff's department's out there. Everything is out there except what's left behind in the old 1968 county building uptown. And almost instantly, there are issues out there. The building leaks. There are all kinds of issues that show that this wasn't as good of a thing as what they promised. And then almost instantly, people were like, well, where's the mental health part of this? What are we doing with the mental health? What are we doing with, where's that? Where are you making room? And instantly it was like, well, there is no room. There's no room out there. Well, now we're going to have to build something or locate something. And it's like, well, what do we do? Do we do that back in the city? So now we're separated out from the jail and stuff again. That makes no sense. So quickly they came up with this idea that there's enough land out there and they can build this facility. And it took years for them to talk about this. And I can't believe that there wasn't a lot of pushback. That the main reason that people finally calmed down on the fight about moving the jail was that the mental health and the drug rehab was going to be basically would coincide with the jail being moved out there. And it was several years after that they started talking about it. And so they've created this situation where we're going to build this building, and there's been many meetings, and they have the people come in and they give updates, and it's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. We're gonna have 40 beds. It's going to be 20 beds for men and 20 beds for women. Well, right there, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. You probably need more beds for men and like less for women, just because of the makeup of what we see and what's going on out there. But okay, so it's going to be lopsided in what happens, and it seems like the problem is we had people who were not involved in mental health, in the mental health field, and we had people that were not involved in the treatment field, all the same thing. And we had people that were not involved in any of that making the plans. So now we've got two, and Charlize just brought it up. It's almost as if Charlize just read my mind. So now we've got two, for Delaware County, citizens of Muncie, citizens of Delaware County, we've got two promised places in Muncie/Delaware County where they're going to allegedly, or where they're going to, as promised, what they say, they're going to promise us that these places are going to deal with crisis, with mental health crisis, with drug addiction, with all of this. And one of them in the city is going to take you, 24 hours a day, 23 hours, you can stay up to 23 hours. It's going to be open 24 hours a day. The police are going to be able to take people there. The mission's going to be able to take people there. The hospital's going to be able to push people there. And you can just go there yourself. And I think we've spent like $2 million, up $2 million plus in the city of Muncie running that. And as we know currently right now, it is a disaster. This is not happening. It's complete nonsense. The crisis center, I call it not the crisis center, but I call it the center in crisis. And it has been in crisis since day one. It was discussed since day one that we've been covering this. I've been covering this for 2.5 years, and it has been a crisis. 100%. Still is. It's still not doing the thing. But that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. Muncie is a whole nother disaster. So that's 2 million there, and it's a disaster. 2 million plus. What we're here to talk about tonight is the Delaware County's plan to deal with this. And this is a little bit better, a little bit different, or at least it was billed as being better or different. It was going to be a place where people could stay for up to 28 days. Okay. Now we're talking about, that's still not enough for true recovery and true, addiction deal. Like, you need longer time, but we're starting to make a little bit of a dent, and, that's, we're starting to kind of get somewhere. But then early last year, they announced that this facility was, it's in the plans, and they're building it, and they're working. It's going to be great, and they're showing all these beautiful renderings of the building, and they're showing us all this work, and it's going to be lovely. It looks wonderful. And then they announced that the company that's going to, hey, Toxic Crew Elite Force, welcome. They're talking. Yes, Brenda, that was yes, ma'am. That's the reason I told you guys down there, say no to that crisis center. Say no. That's why I told you. But so then involving this Delaware County deal, they said, well, we're going to have the day-to-day of the mental health drug treatment facility is going to be ran by this company. They're the largest company that deals with this kind of stuff in the nation, and it's WellPath. Welcome to WellPath. And they had these people lay out this wonderful package, and they showed them how great they were. They were going to be like touching people on the back, and they're going to be hugging people, and they were going to have like white people and black people and like a woman over there, and they could play basketball maybe. They were going to have like neon lights or fluorescent lights and things like that. It looks like just a wonderful building. But what they did not talk about was all of these people that are going to be here, these women and white people and black people, and in a loving community, was WellPath has a major issue. Okay? WellPath has many complaints. There are allegations of people being misused. They're talking about people that are dying in here, that are unexplained deaths. People are not getting their appropriate medication. Their mistreatment of people, the food issues. And then, ding, 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 ding. Yeah, many lawsuits against this place. We start to hear that, WellPath is having serious funding issues. Serious funding issues. And look, I'm really kind of just glancing off of these things because this is stuff that we've all talked about. You can go back and look on YouTube. We're just 4 episodes away from our 500th episode. We've talked about WellPath. We've talked about all this. I brought up the articles. I let you guys read these. I've read them to you. I've posted about them. We have a long history of covering this. So everyone, if you're new here, you might want to go back and look at some of our older shows about this. But if you've been following along, if you're a long-time listener, then you will know that we've covered this a lot of times. So what happened is WellPath, like many companies that do the bankruptcy, what happens is they filed for bankruptcy, and then it's like all of a sudden, okay, everything's good. A new company springs out of this, and it's now called Recovery Solutions. Recovery Solutions is the new company. They, thank God, they are now going to be in charge of our day-to-day thing. But the problem is, it's like the old thing from Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. You know, Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. WellPath is Recovery Solutions. Recovery Solutions is WellPath. You know, it's like they did, Nicole. Absolutely 1000%. You are 100% correct. Nicole says, I swear they used to do inmate health at jails before, and you are right, they did. And in my opinion, and until I hear otherwise, they still do. I am of the opinion that they still do. I think that they do. Everything I'm hearing, they do. So then we're hearing, okay, so, WellPath's not the name anymore. Now it's Recovery Solutions. Everyone's supposed to be like, this is wonderful. Everything's all good. You know, yay, yay. But to me, it's like you telling me, you know, I don't know. It's like telling me that, you know, Ronald Jones is going to be the guy that is helping you, and then there's a problem with Ronald Jones, and now all of a sudden he's like, no, I'm not Ronald Jones, I'm Donald Jones. Like, there's no difference. Like, well, hey, I see all you did was you shaved off your mustache, you're the same dude. Or, oh, I see you've grown out a mustache, you're the same dude. Like, you know, you're not fooling anybody. So that's just kind of an issue. Like, the problem is we've even got to be able, like, you know what? Here, let me tell you this. WellPath and Recovery Solutions, they're a big ordeal. They have had serious issues. They haven't always had serious issues, though, and not all of their places have. So there are some places where they've done a good job. Maybe they could come to Delaware County and do a good job for us. Maybe they would come here and there would never be any issue and we would all be happy. But the point of this episode, and the reason I have been glossing over all of that other stuff, is we have to be able to get them into the building. We've got to even be able to pay them to come here and do a bad job. They can't come and do a good job or a bad job if we don't have the money to fund them to come here. And now this is wherein lie the problems that we're going to be talking about for this episode. So the other day when I was first on Thursday night, when we had a guest that was here, I quickly read to you guys a breaking news article that the Star Press had put out, and I was like, wow, they actually, for the first time in a long time, for like the first time in like 5 or 6 years, they scooped me, which is fine because they're the actual journalist. I shouldn't be breaking news before them. They should be doing it, and then I should be commentating on it. But what generally happens is they're 3 or 4 or 5 weeks late. I break the news and I commentate on it. Okay, I give you my commentary. Well, so finally, Thursday, they actually broke the story first, and then kind of only really a roundabout. They didn't actually break the main part of the story. They just talked about one aspect of it. And so that's this article. And this article is Delaware County Mental Health Facility near completion, likely open next year. We read through this. Now, keep in mind, this is a $7 million regional mental health treatment. What does that mean? Does that mean that Delaware County put in $1 million, and Madison County put in $1 million, and Blackford County put in $1 million, and Randolph put in $1 million, and whatever? Does that mean that? No. That what this means is the city of Muncie, Delaware County, put in like $5 million. So we're covering the brunt of this. Sarcasm coming in for what's being spent on Crisis Center that aren't going to function as advertised. We could have built another. Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah, I thought I saw that. Kate just put that up. That is good. I like that. Absolutely. Well, yeah, right. I mean, no, you know what? Well, 7, 8. Yeah, we could have built exactly one more fire station, because our fire stations cost $9 million, and our health treatment facilities cost $7 million. Tell me what the deal is there. That's kind of crazy. Anyway, so Delaware County's carrying the brunt of this. We're paying $5 million. And when I say carrying the brunt, I mean just to construct the building. Just to construct the building. Delaware County's putting up $5 million. The state of Indiana is then giving us like $2 million. So the facility is costing $7 million that we are constructing on the Delaware County Justice Center facility property. Okay. And so this says construction of a $7 million regional mental health treatment center on the property adjacent to the Delaware County Justice Center is expected to be completed in August. That's like 4 days. Commissioner Sherry Riggin said the facility is expected to be turned over to the county officials in the coming weeks. Commissioners developed the project with the support of state officials seeking to address mental health concerns across the state. That's lovely. I like it. It sounds wonderful. It sounds like this is something that we are all in together, and you know, it's great. It's great. Okay. So to be factual, Delaware County put in $4.5 million, and the state of Indiana put in $2.5 million. Okay, so I just rounded, but okay, you get the point. Indiana provided a $2.5 million grant to help build the facility, and the commissioners paid for the remainder of the construction with money left over from the American Recovery Plan revenue that came to the county after COVID-19 pandemic, according to John Brook, attorney for the commissioners. Shannon Henry, CowBoi-Kid Commissioner that's still there, president of the commissioners, said the treatment center likely won't be operational until early next year. The treatment center will have to receive certification from state officials before opening. Qualified staff will also need to be hired in the coming months. That's interesting. How are they going to do that? We don't hear or see anything about that process or what they're going to be paying them with. The commissioners are using Recovery Solutions to manage the center, a company that operates mental health facilities in 10 states. The company, based in Nashville, Tennessee, contracted with the commissioners earlier this year to run the facility. The provider is a spinoff from another company called WellPath, one of the nation's largest healthcare providers for prisons and jails. Recovery Solutions spun off from WellPath during a bankruptcy proceeding for WellPath in January. Now, an independent company, Recovery Solutions, has not responded to requests from the Star Press for more information. Why? Why can't they get them to respond? Shouldn't that be something that they want to do? Should this provide a little bit of pause and think, we're starting off with them not being willing to communicate? Not a good look. On its website, the company describes itself as the nation's leading provider of behavioral health care on behalf of public entities. Brooks said Recovery Solutions told the county it intends to hire 45 personnel for the Delaware County operations. 45, that's a lot. That's a lot. Plans call for the treatment center to be available for use by other counties, in addition to Delaware County, for help dealing with the addiction and other mental health problems plaguing East Central Indiana. Brooks said up to 10 counties in the region might send patients to the facility when opened. Okay, this is something that makes my mind go ding, 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 ding. Major red flag here, but we'll come back to that. Henry said judges in surrounding counties could modify sentences for offenders with addiction-related problems who agree to treatment at the facility. He said it provides an option for people who have a problem but do not belong in jail. He said Delaware County has estimated a fee of as much as $500 per day per bed for other counties using residential treatment offered at the center. It's similar to how the juveniles and court systems from other counties are placed in Delaware County's Youth Opportunity Center. Residential treatment could run as long as 28 days per patient, Brooks said, with the placement being voluntary. Henry also said that violent offenders would not be allowed in the facility, which can accommodate 40 people at a time, 20 males, 20 females. And the more users are sent to, from other counties, the less Delaware County is going to have to pay for it. The less it's going to cost us. This is great. The idea is Delaware County doesn't pay anything. No, wrong. The idea is that we help people that are in need, that we help people who have mental health related issues, addiction related issues. It's not that, ding, 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 this is a money maker. What's funny here is even their attorney says, but Brooks said, the reason for the facility is to help people in need, not to raise revenue. It's interesting that he threw that in. Like, normally he's not the one, being the straight arrow. He's like, how much money will it be? Outpatient treatment will also be offered at the facility, Henry said, with people not involved in the court system. That was one argument. Who's going to want to go to this place and sign up to go thinking, okay, like, am I going to jail? What's happening? Do I want to get in this program? Am I going to be in there with people in jail? Like, this is kind of a strange thing. In May, the city of Muncie had a grand opening for a place that was a joke, blah, 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 blah. Right now said we would love for these places to work together. That's a joke. Okay. All of this is what it is. So that's basically the end of the article. But what didn't get covered in this article, and probably what the biggest issue is something that I have been hearing. And I'm going to tell you, I cannot tell you who or where or when or what or how, but in the last couple of weeks, last maybe month or so, probably for the last 6 months, definitely, but it's been ramping up. I have been hearing from sources inside Delaware County government, and I want to be very clear when I say this. I am hearing for people who are employed by Delaware County, but I am also hearing from currently elected officials. And let's be clear, the Delaware County Recorder has nothing to do with this. The Delaware County Clerk's Office really has nothing to do with this. So when I tell you that I'm hearing from elected officials, and without diming any of these people out, I won't do that. I'm obviously talking about someone or someone's from the Delaware County Commissioner's Office, and or the Delaware County Counselor's Office, and or the Delaware County Sheriff's Department. Those are the three offices that really would be connected to this. And so I'm letting you know that this is not just Bilbrey out here spinning out, just talking weirdness. I'm hearing from people, and the big issue is not WellPath and its bad past, not Recovery Solutions and its connection to WellPath, not James King being a complete idiot or all this stuff. The problem is when this first got put in place, and they thought, okay, well, we've got money to build this, we've got money to do all of this stuff, it's going to be great. What they did not do, what they just completely looked over, was they did not, thank you, they did not deal with the funding of the day-to-day aspect. Stumblefoot, the prosecutor's office and the courts would deal with people going there. They wouldn't specifically be they're not on this side of the project. They're on that side of the project. So they are responsible for who fills these beds. They would be involved with that in some aspects, but they wouldn't be involved in, okay, here's how we're going to fund it. That mostly is going to come down to the commissioners and the council. Really, it doesn't even come down to the sheriff's department. The talking about the funding, because that's the main problem here. That's what we're talking about. Right now, I'm not talking about once this gets here, is it going to be good? Is it not going to be good? How are people going to be selected? Are they not going to be selected? Because we've got to get the people. No. It's got nothing about feeding the machine. There is no machine to feed. There is no machine to feed if we can't fund the machine, if there's no machine. What I'm talking about is the fact that these people, and mostly, I'm telling you, it's coming down to James King and Shannon Henry, did not sit down and say, okay, how do we fund this? We build it. We figured out how to build it, but now we have to figure out how to fund it for the next 20 years, the next 30 years. Well, it would be funded by taxpayers, but that money's already allocated in other places. See, so each year, Delaware County gets an amount of money. Okay? And I don't know what that I will look into it and find out the yearly budget and whatever and how that goes. But just being totally ignorant of this, let's just make a round number. Let's just say $100 million. I think we're way off, but let's just say $100 million. Let's say Delaware County gets $100 million. That $100 million is already allocated out to all of these different sources. It's already allocated out to the sheriff's department and to the court system and to the clerk's office and to the vehicles and to everything that takes to run the government. Right now, we don't have extra money. Now we add this machine, this mental health facility, where it's going to be open 24 hours a day. We're going to have to staff it with at least some kind of a doctor or doctors. We're going to have to staff it with nurses. We're going to have to staff it with techs. We're going to have to staff it with counselors. We're going to have to staff it with jailers, corrections officers of some kind, to be there to keep the people from like escaping or whatever. We're gonna have to clean the facility. We're gonna have to pay water. We're gonna have to pay electricity. We're gonna have to pay everything that it takes to run a building like this. The problem is that day-to-day cost was never specified. They were too busy thinking about how they got their names on a little golden plaque inside the doors. It never dawned on them that they would need to come up with how this place was going to be funded. So then that takes me back to that part of the article where they're like, well, we could have people from 10 other counties coming. We could be da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so now we're talking about a situation where Delaware County paid $4.5 million. The state paid $2.5. And maybe we've got one person from Delaware County in there because the other 39 beds are filled up with people from outside of Delaware County. That's going to be a problem. Um, and I get what you're saying, Kith, because we're looking at all of that. The issue here is, see, everybody's getting caught up on like who's going to be running and who's going to be paying. We, as a county, we can't fund it. We're not currently funding it right now. Like right now, I can tell you that the sheriff's department is funded by tax dollars and by the budget. The council does a yearly budget, and they know how much goes into that. And next year, they know it's going to take a little bit more. It's going to take this or that, whatever. It's funded. But now it's like any one of you out here. It's like any of you who are living your life, and right now you're going to get up tomorrow morning and you're going to go to work and you're going to do your thing. And then tomorrow you're going to say, all right, I'm also going to now buy a $150,000 home. I'm going to buy another $500,000 home. I'm going to buy an $800,000 home. And just, I've got no extra income coming in. I'm not getting another job. I'm not marrying somebody. My husband, my partner's not going to be getting a salary bump. We still make the same amount of money tonight that we're going to make tomorrow. But now it's just going to be, we're going to take in this extra $500,000 home and figure out how we got to pay it. Oh, woo. That's a problem. Like, that's not even something that's not real. You can't do it because that's insane. Will it be run by a board? Tweety Bird, to my knowledge, it would answer to the commissioners and the council. That's who it'll run. I mean, there won't be like see, this is the other issue. Absolutely. Now, I think that we have a smaller health department than what some would think. But I will take a look at that and see what's going on with how many people are there. But I just, it's really interesting because so we're in budget time. Like the Delaware County Council is going to be sitting down for their week, 2 week, 3 week budget process here in the next at least the next month. Over the next month, we'll be doing this, and it'll be interesting to see what they have to say about this. Unless you have private pay insurance, but see, that's the thing. That part of it is only going to be such a small percentage because the majority of this is going to be people that's going to be coming from the jail. This is going to be a part of their court-ordered sentence, and or it's going to be part of their plea. They're like their plea deal, and it's going to be really, really interesting to see how they deal with this. Now, let me tell you, this is the other side that we haven't spoke about. I have heard from those same sources that there has been talk that because of the funding concern, that one of a couple things might happen. And let me highlight for you, if I may, what those other topics that they've said could very well be. What is happening here? Why is my mouse not moving? Come on, mousy, mousy, mousy. Where are you at? What are we doing? Guess my mouse is just dead. All right, enough of you. Okay, so let me tell you what we're looking at here with the this deal, because this is kind of crazy. So because of these funding concerns, all right, because of these funding concerns, I'm not the only person that has these concerns. There are other people that have these concerns, like other people in government that have these same concerns. And okay, sorry, I was doing the wrong thing. Let me get this put up here so we can see what's happening. So here we go. I'm going to put this up here so you guys can see this. And we can have an understanding of the other problem here, because we're all talking like this is still going to be a mental health facility. And you're leaving, well, maybe I buried the lead for maybe entertainment purposes, but it's not entertaining. It's very bad. There is a concern that because of the concerns for budgeting, that maybe this just won't be a mental health facility. I have heard from sources that I would consider to be extremely, extremely credible. These are sources that I would tell you some of them are employees in Delaware County government, but the large majority of these sources I'm hearing from are elected officials. And from those elected officials, I've heard of 3 issues. Well, maybe it can't be funded, so we will just leave the building empty. What this means is we've built the building, we've paid $7 million on this building, $4.5 million from Delaware County, American Rescue Plan, and $2.5 million from the state of Indiana. And now that it's built, well, we'll just leave the building empty. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. But that's a good question, Michael. Maybe they do. I don't know. That's a good question, and maybe that's something they look into doing. I think the issue with that is, when you're dealing with a grant, grants aren't long term, and that's still kind of kicking the can down the road rather than them planning something out for like long term. So leaving the building empty. Tell me how many people would be mad if they did that. A lot of people would be mad if they did that. That's just one of the issues. The other thing that I've heard is a possibility would be selling it off to the highest offer. Okay, we've built this building. We cannot fund this as a day-to-day mental health facility, so we sell it off. And if Kiff has $7 million, he can come in here and buy this. Or if Michael has, if the other offers are, if the other offers are, $4 million, and Michael comes in and says, all right, I'll give you $6.2 million, then maybe it becomes Michael's warehouse or Michael's garage or Michael's apartment, or I don't know, but it becomes Michael's. I don't know. That does not seem highly likely to me. It seems more like they would just let it sit there and use it for storage or things, but that is a possibility. And that is they just would, whatever. That's a possibility. The third thing is turning it into an animal shelter. And let me tell you, that has been a thought of some elected officials. Well, maybe, we don't use it for the mental health. It just becomes the county animal shelter. So, of the three, I mean, obviously, at least something would be happening with it at that point. But I think if they do anything other than this being a mental health facility that deals with mental health patients and drug patients, Charlize says, sell it. We'll turn it into a condo. Sell it to the city for $100, and we'll have it. Dan will have it turned into condos. That's very real possibility. So I just like the Star Press broke the story, I guess, of this building getting done, but they didn't really talk much about like other concerns. And look, I know they're the newspaper and they're hard hitting and they can't just go off something that they hear from a commissioner or from a counselor. Maybe do some research, maybe do some work, because it's not been hard for me to get this information. This information came to me rather easily, and it was not information that it wasn't information that I went looking for. It was information that sought me out. And once I heard these things, I did research, and it was not hard to connect dots. So I'm just saying, this is something that could be a big issue. It'll be really interesting, and it will be interesting to see what the council does in this next budget process, which will be starting up. And has anybody heard of anything from Brad Bookout? I'm hearing that he's gearing up possibly to run against Elizabeth Roway. But it can be Dan's Playhouse for parties and meetings. That would be amazing. Women's League of Voters retirement home. So I'm obviously going to continue following this. We'll hear more as we go into the budget season, and I'll keep you guys posted. Now we go into the other extremely big and important hot button issue, and that is what a lot of people are here for, and that is Delaware County's upcoming Plan Commission Solar Ordinance meeting. Dun dun dun. Okay. So, where did we last leave off? So where we last left off on this topic was last week, when I was alerting you all to the fact that we have an upcoming Plan Commission special meeting on Tuesday, August 12th, 2025, starting at 6 p.m. If you read this, it says it will be at the Delaware County Justice Center, located at 3100 South Tillotson Avenue. The doors will open at 5:15 p.m. Anyone wishing to speak must sign in at that time and prior to the start of the meeting. Allotted speaking time will be determined that evening based on the number of individuals signing in. The proposed solar ordinance to be discussed is in the link below, which we've looked at. You can go and click that. If you looked at, you can find this simply by typing in on Google Delaware County, Indiana Plan Commission, and this, their website will pop up, and you can go straight to it. You can see the ordinance. The information, the solar ordinance will not be discussed during the regular meeting on August 7th. So I, of course, see this, and I have some major concerns straight out of the gate. And if you're new here, you might not know what those are, but if you've been here for a long time, and obviously I've talked about this here in the last couple of weeks, but even if I wouldn't, if this is my first time talking about this tonight, my concerns are My concerns are, number one, I don't like the fact that they're telling people in order for you to speak, you need to be there between 5:15 and 6 p.m. Because what happens if you're a good, hardworking citizen in Delaware County and you work until 5 o'clock? And you, by the time you get off and do what you got to do, you get to the meeting and it's 6:02 p.m. Now is your First Amendment right to speak and to address and redress your government officials, is that limited because you couldn't get to a meeting before 6 p.m.? The other issue is the fact that it's not said on that thing, but we heard in a commissioner's meeting that Brand said that they are limiting the seats to 499 seats. So I reached out to get a hold of everyone involved with this and to find out like what the deal was. I reached out to the Plan Commission and I reached out to Stephen Brand, and I had a hard time getting a hold of them for a couple of days. The plan was to record them, and that's why I was specifically trying to call. Well, it so happened that both of these individuals called me and talked to me at times when recording was not a possibility. So I did have two conversations, both with Commissioner Stephen Brand and Delaware County, City of Muncie, Metropolitan Plan Commission Executive Director Kylene Swackhammer. And in talking to both of these people, I laid out my issues. And talking to Brand first, after I laid out every one of my issues, the very first thing that he says is, well, you know me, I want people to be able to speak, and I see both sides of this. And I'm like, no, wait, what? If you start out by telling me you see both sides of this, I instantly think you're full of shit, because exactly what Kate said. There are not two sides to this. There is, you allow people to speak and allow them to be heard on. Listen to this. This is not just a standard council meeting, commissioners meeting, plan commission. This is talking about something that has been a major fight, makes a major point of contention for lots of people. That's been probably one of the biggest issues in the last 5 years, and it's been going on for the last 5 years. Number two, which is probably really number one and most important, and that is, depending on what goes on here, or some might say no matter what goes on here, this has the ability to affect people in the future, quite possibly for the next 30 plus years. Listen, in 30 years, I'll be damn near 80. There are people fighting this fight who will spend the next 30 years of their life who will spend the next 30 years of their life dealing with the outcome of this and may die before anything is ever fixed for them. Star that for me if you can, Kate. We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that, LaRue. I will talk about that this evening. So I just pushed with him and I said, listen, I get it, bro. I get it. And I'm just telling you that if there is an elected official, if there is an appointed official, if there's someone concerned with this, and they're concerned with the time, they're concerned with not being able to give us jam down into 60 minutes, then maybe those people should resign. Maybe they should step down, they should be removed, and let someone who understands that, you know what, if this thing takes 5 hours, it takes 5 hours. And Brand's like, yeah, I see both sides to that, which is, just the political answer. And it's like, I don't know. I don't get what you're saying. I brought up to him, I said I was concerned with the fact that, people who got there after the minutes. Now, what he did tell me about the seating was that all they're saying is only 499 people can sit down. That's what he said. So he reiterated to me the fact that, well, not everybody's going to sit down. And I'm like, I don't care about people sitting down. I care about if you're going to only let 499 people in. He said, I'm also not going to be there with a counter counting 497, 498, 499. Okay, hold up. And I said, well, that needs to be known. And then he says to me, well, it would be nice to have this kind of problem, but the last time we had this meeting, only 200 people showed up. So here's the deal. They're treating me like I'm an ignorant asshole because I'm out here pushing this, and they're like, he's so stupid, only 200 people is going to show up. And let me tell you, he's right. And that's our fault. That's my fault. That's your fault. That's our fault. That's the citizens' fault. I tell him, I'm like, and it sounds stupid. As a matter of fact, I'm going to stop saying it, I think. I used to wear it like a badge of honor. I used to talk about the August 5th, 2019 meeting where 1,200 people showed up. I brought that up. I was like, well, da-da-da-da-da. And people were like, yeah, but that was 2019. That's not happened since. And they're right. They're right. That's correct. So we're again in a situation where it's a problem. And so, yeah, LaRue, that's where I'm at. Like, I want 800 people to be there. I want 1,500 people to be there. 1,500 people in Delaware. I guarantee you there are 1,500 people on both, with both sides of this that have talked about this, and all these people need to do is jot it down, get off their lazy ass, and get to the meeting. They've talked about, and to his credit, and he did say, well, that's the reason that we're putting it out far enough in advance so people can, maybe clear their schedules. Maybe they can, clear their schedules and get there. And I'm like, well, maybe they can, but what if they can't? What if someone's like, hey, boss, I need to get off to go to a meeting. He's like, well, you can get off at your allotted time at 5:30. Whatever you do after 5:30, that's on you. So, I didn't really get anywhere with Brand. They don't want it to be Tweety Bird, but see, they don't have that ability. Only we hold that ability. Only we hold that ability. How many of us go down through and post crap about Donald Trump or Biden or this cat or some AI stupidity? I'm not saying that we shouldn't be posting any of that and all of that. But why can't we take 1 second out of one day to make a post? Hey, this meeting's going on. I need everybody to be there. We need everybody to be there. This is a big issue. Quite a bit. That was like right when I was starting in LaRue. That would have been like, early on in my time. And I probably wouldn't have been attending those meetings back then. So I'm not sure, but I know it was a lot. And you are right, Stumblefoot. As a community, we will face bigger issues than even this, and a sufficient-sized auditorium should be considered. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, straight off the bat, absolutely, yes, sir, 100%. The old Masonic Temple has a stage, has an auditorium that seats 1,000 people. Has 1,000 people, so that would be a place. The field house, could definitely take care of it. So there's places. They just have to be willing to. They just have to be willing to do that. But until we show them that we're going to stack up and go out there in force like that, they're not going to do anything about it. They're not going to do a damn thing about it. When I went to the Justice Center auditorium out there, I said, wait a minute. Why are we not holding our commissioners' meetings in here? Why are we holding them up at the county building? We need to be holding everything out there where that auditorium is. But they don't do that because, the largest crowd that goes up to the county building for a meeting, on a crazy, crazy day might be 80 people, might be 100 people. We can't gripe and moan, because here's what's going to happen. I'm going to spend the next 17 days that we have fighting this. I'm going to be emailing them. I'm going to be calling them. I'm going to be a pain in their ass. So I talked to Kylene Schwackhammer, and she was even less willing to hear it than Brand. she's like, well, this is just like what we do, and we're going off some rules. And I'm like, well, I'm just trying to go off the First Amendment. I don't really care about rules. I just really care about people's First Amendment rights not being violated. That's my number one concern. I don't care about a minute. I told them that the considering that they're going to give people a minute to speak, depending on how many people show up. I said, look, I can call you guys a bunch of names. I can say a bunch of points. I can make a point in 60 seconds. But a lot of people can't. People who aren't used to speaking and don't speak frequently don't do that. Can't do that. Well, you're right. Change the meetings to evening, and that needs to happen for most of the case. This meeting is in the evening. This meeting is supposed to start at 6 o'clock. If you want to speak, you got to get there before 6. What I would tell everybody, in order to be safe, and because we're going to fight this, but we can run around this. If you are going to the meeting and you know your buddy is going to be there but can't be there until after 6, sign him up. Now, they might not like that. I don't care what they like. You say, hey, I'm signing my brother up. My brother's going to be here. I'm signing him up. You don't like it? That's too bad. I don't know what to do. I'm signing my uncle up. I'm signing my nephew up. I'm signing my wife up. Whoever it is, make whatever. But there are ways around this. But we need to show up there. And there might be people that they don't let in. We need to do that. Well Sustainable Product on August 5th, 2019, only 400 people were allowed to sit, and then in the hallway, and they wheeled out TV so people could hear. There was still a line out the building, and all the way to the Star Bank building. Those people didn't say, well, we can't get in, we're going to leave. The point is, you got to go there, you got to stand there, and you got to make it uncomfortable for them. And it will be uncomfortable for them. Now, by this time, I'm hearing it's the heat, the oppressive heat that we've been having is going to subside, and so hopefully it won't be as crazy hot. But I would tell people to pack cooler, bring water, but we need people. Say you're their proxy. Absolutely. Yep. Tweety Bird, that's right. 100%. Absolutely. So I'm going to continue pounding this. Kylene Swackhammer told me to email my concerns to her. She would share them with the board president. Brand said he would share my concerns. I am going to prepare an email tomorrow morning, and I'm going to send it to all of the commissioners, to Kylene Swackhammer, and to all of the council members. And I'm going to say, this is my thoughts. Here's the issue. This is what I'm thinking. I'm going to send it to the sheriff as well. I'm going to send it out, and I'm going to say, this is the deal. So we're going to send that out, and we're going to see what happens. And once I send that out, then tomorrow when we come on, what I'll do is I'll show you that email. And if you guys want a different version of it or a copy of it, we'll do it. And we need to start sending people. We need more people than just me to call. Because right now they're like, oh, it's just Bilbrey being Bilbrey and only 200 people are going to come. Maybe if we show them that a lot of people are going to come and a lot of people are interested, maybe they'll take it a little bit more serious. That's something we can do. Okay, and we're gonna talk more about solar as it comes up, and we've got 17 days, so we're gonna cover it. I also asked him, and you were right, LaRue. There is it's over the whole ordinance, so that's people need to read that, and we need to take a look at that. I want to answer a couple of these questions before I move on to the other quick topic. Charlize said, so is everyone opposed to solar under any conditions or in certain areas? Example, is solar in brownfields okay or no? Well, I'm going to tell you what my thought is to this. I think my answer to this is I am in Delaware County. I am opposed to industrial solar. If the county or the city wants to somehow set something up and have solar at the GM plant and the people of that area are okay, whatever. If we want to somehow put solar out on Borg Warner, if it's not industrial solar, I'm okay. I'm not opposed to all solar. I'm opposed to industrial solar. The problem with letting industrial solar come in to do even those areas is once they get their foot in the door, that's all they feel like they need. So I am opposed to industrial solar, period. So that's my answer there. LaRue said there's some confusion on the amendment. Yes, and I asked about this, and I'm waiting to get a response back. I'm going to talk to Stephen. I'm going to do a show in the next couple coming days or weeks before this meeting where we go through the ordinance and we talk about this. But I want to get more of my head wrapped around this before I do that. So I did talk about this, and we are going to get to the bottom of this and find out what the deal is. So keep watching. Obviously, you do. But we are going to talk about this. I'll try to cover it this week, or maybe if I don't get to it this week, the first of next week. But we will cover this when we cover the solar ordinance. So I will talk about this, and we will cover this. That's my promise to you. So that's that. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to cover here quickly is this. Let me get this pulled up. I want to cover this thing just briefly. So I've got some different thoughts and plans and concerns about this. Not plans really, but different concerns. So we talked about this just briefly the other day. This is Muncie politics just got uglier. This is, in my opinion, state-ran media. Muncie politics just got uglier. A social media post on the Delaware County Democrat Facebook page has many wondering how dangerous AI and Photoshop can be in misleading the public. The now infamous Coldplay Kiss Cam saga has come to City Hall, as Mayor Dan Ridenour was virtually implicated in a photo superimposing his face onto the body of a now reported adulterer, citing what some say are misleading half-truths about some of Ridenour's decisions as mayor. We reached out to Mayor Ridenour, and he provided this text comment. Now, I got mad about this the other day. He said, I heard a statement recently in an online podcast. I mistook this as he was talking about, he heard about this on a podcast. And I assumed, and this is what happens when you assume, I assumed he was talking about mine, and it made me mad. I've since reread this, and it makes more sense to me now, and I've talked to someone close to him that knows what was going on here, and he's not referring to me. What he says is, I've heard this statement on an online podcast, and then he tells us the statement that he heard, and it was a podcast that he heard. It was a Jordan Richardson podcast. Richard, whatever his name is, I forget what his name is, but the statement that he heard on the podcast is the following. People love to give opinions on paths that they have never personally walked. They want to weigh in on decisions that they have never had the courage to face themselves. And Ridenour says, I think those words say it all. No, I think that is a poorly written out statement. I think that's stupid. Not everybody is going to be mayor. Not everybody can be mayor. Not everybody has the want and desire to be mayor. But it does not stop you from questioning those in power. The fact that somebody does their day job and does it well, and they're a banker, or they're an attorney, or they're a farmer, or they're a political commentator, or whatever, they're a school teacher, and they want to have comments on what the government's doing. That does not, Ridenour's thought is, unless you run for mayor and you win, you can't have any thoughts on this. That's crap. Okay, so I want to say that. Andrew Dale wrote on Facebook page of his party as chairman of the Delaware County Democratic Party. I want to offer a sincere apology on Facebook page for a Facebook post made earlier today by one of our volunteers. We asked to see the deleted post, but Dale refused to provide it. We also asked for the name of the person who posted it, but Dale refused, providing this emailed statement. My statement, which included the unvarnished apology from myself as chairman of the Delaware County Democratic Party, speaks for itself. The post was deleted shortly after I was made aware of it. Therefore, I do not have an image of the post any longer. The volunteer who made the post, who I will not name, was excused from having access to the party's Facebook account. Although I had not approved the post, nor had I seen the post at any time prior to its posting, I take full responsibility for the post as chairman of our party. The post questioned Mayor Ridenour's spending priorities, certainly fair game, and I believe the topic of relevance for Munsonians. But the post also included a meme that I felt was disrespectful and unnecessary, partly on the well-cycled through Coldplay meme. There's no place in our party's social media messaging for such content. While a certain stroke of levity is fine in our messaging, we are here to elevate rather than weaken civil discourse. Best, Andrew. Then, in a weird turn of events, they, for whatever reason, reached out to somebody that was not connected to this, and they asked for comments from Stephen Brand, Delaware County Commissioner in District 1, and he shared the statement. As elected officials and a proud member of the Republican Party here in Delaware County, I believe it is essential to address the tone of our local political conversation. Recently, a post targeting the mayor of Muncie was circulated online by individuals associated with the local Democratic Party. While I appreciate that the post has since been removed and an apology issued, it is disappointing that such message was shared in the first place. This is not the first time we've seen commentary that focuses not on ideas or policies, but on personal attacks or appearances. Such tactics do not elevate our political debate. They diminish it. And they do not serve the people that we are trusted to represent. They are not funny. Both parties claim to stand for values like fairness, tolerance, and respect. We must hold ourselves to those standards, not just in words, but in actions. In particular, when we disagree, disrespectful memes, name-calling, and personal ridicule are beneath the dignity of public service, no matter who they come from. As a public servant and community leaders, we have the responsibility to model civil discourse, even in times of passionate disagreement. Our constituents deserve nothing less. I encourage all people, Republicans, Democrats, and beyond, to focus on substantive issues, listen with respect, and speak with integrity. Let's work together to foster a political environment that encourages debate without demeaning disagreement. A bunch of bullcrap. Okay, so then they come down here, and all right, that's the end of it. Okay, I got to talk about this. Okay, this is nuts to me. So I'm going to say this. He didn't name who the person was that did this, okay? And then shortly thereafter, the person who did this came out and made a post and outed themselves, okay? And the person in question was Cameron Grubbs. Cameron Grubbs is a Democrat. Cameron Grubbs is a progressive. And he is a person who does not have a lot in agreement with Dan Ridenour or Stephen Brand or me or a lot of other people. But that's perfectly fine, okay? I'm going to say this. The meme was stupid. It wasn't one of Cameron's better ones. Cameron has done better memes. If Cameron had done the meme himself and posted it himself, there would be no issue here. He made the meme from the Democrat page, and that's why Andrew commented the way he commented. If I was Andrew, I would have just deleted it and been like, whatever. and been done with it. I would not have made the big mea culpa that he did. I cannot believe that this has now been talked about on WLBC 104.1. It's been talked about on WMDH 104.9. It's been in all kinds of different like little articles and things. This has blown up to be a massively wild story when there's no story here at all. It's nuts. It's totally insane. And so the meme to begin with, I'm going to show you what it is here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you this. Let you guys see what this is here. So we can all see it. We can see just how horrible it was. Okay. Give me 1 second here. I gotta get to it. Okay, right here we go. Okay. Here's the meme. Okay. Okay. So this is the meme. It's got Ridenhour's head on the head of the man at the Coldplay thing. And on the woman's head, it says bad deals. And it says sold the old jail for $100 while overpaying for other properties. Bought con cannons for $650,000 for a parking lot. Shorted the police department's budget and had money removed from the opioid fund to cover it. Southway Plaza, need we say more? When is Mayor Ridenhour going to honor his obligation to the people of Muncie? All right. So I have talked about several of these issues. I wouldn't have even put those issues on there. I would have just left it as it is and said, look, Mayor Ridenhour is out here cheating with bad deals, and left it at that. Okay. There are other issues. For all of the people out there saying, well, look, the jail condos are going to be wonderful, or blah, 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 or Southway, that's the owner of the property's fault. The problem is it's still a bad deal that Ridenhour was involved in. But I'm going to tell you here, there was a time when the Ridenhour could have been kidnapped by 3 unknown con men, thrown in a car and sex trafficked off to Bolivia or something, because he was down in Memphis touring a facility that these men didn't even own, and he wanted to make a deal with them and bring their kind of con crap to Delaware County. Ridenhour is known for nonsensical bullcrap deals. It is what it is. You can like him, you can say he's done good things. He's also made some really stupid moves too. And everybody, Republicans, independents, libertarians, and Democrats, we all get to call those out. Like him, love him, hate him, whatever. I call him out daily. And I've made worse memes. Okay, of Ridenhour. I think Cameron's fatal flaw here was he posted it as the Delaware County Democrats on their page, and they just didn't want it there. And then that allowed everybody else to be like, oh, look, it's low blow. It's stupid. It's not low blow. It's not the dangers of AI. There's a lot more stuff that can prove the dangers of AI. Okay, now there were some comments that were made down below that, again, I wouldn't have made, but, you know, this is a crazy world. Politics is a blood sport. And if you're going to run in the game, you know, you're going to... People say bad stuff about me all the time. People say bad stuff about me all the time. Yeah, it has thin skin. Absolutely. Yeah. Just really, really crazy, this whole deal. Given the fact that, look, here's what the point of a meme is. The point of the meme is to get your attention and for you to know what the topic is quickly. This was a bad meme, in my opinion, just because it didn't make any sense. It was kind of hard to follow, whatever. Like, who's he cheating on? Is he cheating on Muncie? Is he in love with bad deals? Whatever. The point of the matter is, this was nothing. I cannot believe it's being commented on, and it's this big thing. Republicans need to quit clutching their pearls so hard. It's leaving indentions in your hands. Grow up, relax, and you're in the big boy world now, okay? So just give it a break, all right? Because I guarantee you, I'm going to hurt your feelings far more than that stupid meme, maybe tomorrow, okay? Or the next day. We never know, whatever, okay? So whatever. It's just, this was a stupid topic that no one should have spent any time talking in. The Republicans shouldn't have been talking about it. The Democrats shouldn't be talking about it. I shouldn't be talking about it. It was completely stupid. But grow up. You're in politics, dude. And to think that we can't question people, we can't call people out, we got to, everyone's got to be nice. We can't say anything that might cause people to be hurt. Their feelings are hurt because, they're being called out. You're in the wrong sport here, folks. Just nonsensical. Absolutely nonsensical. So I wanted to say that. Dude, Steve Lindell's like, is this the horrors of AI? No, bro. What? And you're state-ran media, man. Nobody listens to what you're saying. It's nonsense. The other quick thing I wanted to say was the Republicans finally found a place to have their picnic. Everything is okay with the world. The picnic is going to be held at Scott Alexander's business. So everyone can relax. The event, the picnic that's going to go off, everything's going to be wonderful. It's going to go off as planned. The same day, everything's going to be wonderful, and it's going to go off out at Scott Alexander's business out on Riggin, and there's like 9 acres there or something. They're going to have it. If you're a Republican, if you want to attend, you have to RSVP. We'll put that out there, and we'll see what goes on, and I will post that when there's something to post. So that's going on, and I guess it's going on same Saturday, August 9th from 11 to 1, and that's that. So thank God we got that taken care of. No, he has not apologized yet for that. We're going to go to the meetings this month. We've got a couple meetings we got to go to. We got to go to a meeting in Anderson to figure out what the hell their problem is. We got to go to a meeting in Madison County. We've got to go to the Muncie unsafe housing meeting, and so we've got a lot of stuff to cover in this next upcoming month, and so it's going to be interesting to see what goes on. But I'm going to keep on him with that, so we'll see what goes on. I think there was one last thing that I wanted to say. I can't think of it. No, I think that's it. I think that's done. Dan isn't going to apologize for anything. No, but I'm going to make it real uncomfortable for him at that meeting. We're gonna get nuts and see what happens. So that'll be fun. Yeah, I think that's it. I thought I got rid of that solar thing down there. Do you still see the solar thing up there, or is that just my screen? That's weird. That's weird. It was hidden, but not hidden. So let me look. I know there's something I'm leaving out, and as soon as I get off here, I will be mad about it. Nope, I guess that's it. Well, okay, that's going to do it for tonight. I've got to go and try to get in some kind of cool air because I feel like it's like 1,000 degrees in here. You guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you, Stumblefoot, for the 5 gifted political spotlight memberships. It'll be fun to see where they land. How YouTube deals with that is you gift them and they just go out to 5 randos. So that's cool. We'll see if you're someone who's watching this and all of a sudden you get hit with a special gift membership. Please let us know if you're one of those people. I'll try to look too. So we'll see and we'll let you guys know. But thank you for that, Stumblefoot. That's very nice of you. That's wonderful. We will be back here tomorrow, God willing, same bat time, same bat channel. And we'll have a lot of commentary for you. I don't know if I'll be back. I should be back at the never remember anyone they are fishing for your legal name. No, we can't get your. Most people use their real names here. I mean, you don't have to, but I know Stumblefoot. I'm not fishing for anybody, but yeah, whatever. You know, like it doesn't show us anything. Maybe it shows YouTube that, but we don't see that stuff. So, all right, you guys take care. God bless. Have a great evening. We will see you next time. Goodbye.